Trust and believe me when I tell you I try my best to avoid doing commentaries on two people, the Coonstress and the Saltine Queen. But it's just like whenever the thoughts spiral around in my head of things I want to say about what they say, it's just like if I don't say something, it's going to beat me up to the point where I finally just let out my expressions about what it is I want to say about them. And I trust and believe that is one of the biggest cons when it comes to doing the kind of commentaries that I do. When you have to speak on something even though you don't want to. And to be quite honest, nobody, I don't think, sent me any email asking me to talk about this. And notice if I didn't even talk about this in my live stream, and I could have touched on it then. But, I just had to say something because I just wanted to point out the hypocritical nature of Queen Saltine. Because on this channel, we don't call her by her real name. We acknowledge her by her true nature. So, as you can see right here, this is a screenshot of the Saltine Queen's tweet as it pertains to some comments that Lil Wayne did with an interview. Now, let me touch on him for a little bit because I don't want to stay on him too long. This is more so about her. He made some comments where he was basically saying all cops aren't bad and that there's more good cops than bad and everything like that. Then he started talking about this white cop he knew named Uncle Bob, or at least that's what he called him. And not too soon after Lil Wayne bigged up this Uncle Bob individual, some information came out about Uncle Bob, and I hate that I have to keep referring to him as that, but for contextual purposes, that's what I'm gonna call him. And that didn't put or paint Uncle Bob in a very good light at all. Like at all. So he pretty much had to eat his words. There's some more information that's going to go into that, but I don't really feel like digging or diving any deeper into that cesspool than I have to. I just gave you the surface information because I didn't want to dwell too much on that. I could be here all day. Now, when it comes to her, now, let's read what she said. Lil Wayne gets it. Too bad all the noise from the quote-unquote movement, and she's talking about Black Lives Matter, just skips right over it. 99% of officers are not only good cops, they are good people who don't deserve this demonization. Yet they still do their jobs and protect us all. First off, 99%. Does she actually think that 99% of all cops are good in this establishment? Because if that was the case, police brutality numbers would be way lower than what they actually are. See, the Saltine Queen, she's going to eventually age into Karenism. She's already at Becky status right now, but when she gets a little bit more over the hill, because she's, as far as I'm concerned, about to slam into that wall any day now. But when she really gets over that hill, she'll be knocking on the door of Karenism. And, of course, she's going to echo this kind of statement, especially when it comes from a black person. I think someone had wrote on Twitter, and I have responded to them. I said, I bet you the Saltine Queen doesn't even know one Lil Wayne song, let alone one Wayne lyric from any song he's done, whether it was a song he did on his own, a feature, or whatever. But because he said what he said, she jumps out in agreement. Now, mind you, Saltine is one of those people that claims that we should not be listening to celebrities and taking everything they say with a grain of salt and, liberal this and liberal that. But isn't Wayne a celebrity in his own right? Last I checked, he has been a celebrity for the last 20 plus years. But according to her, we shouldn't take words from it. And as a matter of fact, many conservatives believe that no one should be listening to celebrities. But here she is, quote unquote, listening to a celeb because he, quote unquote, painted cops in a good light. And he happens to be black. Now, if he was white, she wouldn't have said this. And she does this a lot. Like, whenever something, that's why I say her and the Coonstress are like one and the same. Uh, the Coonstra, she tries to be what Tommy Lawrence. Ooh, I said her name. I broke my rule. See why I said I don't like talking about her? Anyway, scratch that from the record. The Coonstra tries to be what Saltine is. Basically, they are the Oreo combination. You have the Coonstress, who is the cookie part, and then you had Saltine, which is the cream part. Put them together, and that's pretty much what you have. Sometimes they're almost interchangeable. You never know who was who. The only way you'll know the difference is because of the skin tone. But this woman and a lot of conservatives are the same people that say don't listen to celebrities because they don't know what they're talking about. You remember Laura Ingraham just told LeBron James to just shut up and dribble because he had the nerve to talk about injustices and everything like that. They don't like when athletes or entertainers who are black speak out because they feel that they don't know what they're talking about. I can only imagine what they said about John Boyega because he was very, very, very outspoken and very firmly stood on his square. But they love the weak and docile, subservient celebrity who happens to be black. And if you are Caucasian, they'll love you unless you start speaking against them, and then they'll call you a liberal, and they use that as an insult. It's amazing how people like the Saltine Queen loves to bring politics into a situation where it doesn't need to be. But that's something that I've noticed a lot of conservatives in particular love to do. They will insert something political in there where it doesn't need to be. I have seen so many people say liberal left and this and liberal left that when it came to George Floyd, like almost every single day. I'm like, why are you throwing politics into a situation where this man was murdered? But they can't help themselves. Like, that's one of the things that they have to hang on to. Without that and a few other things, they would have nothing. And they know that. But yeah, she's a hypocrite. She is a stone cold hypocrite. And she has to know that, but she has to keep up appearances, and that's why she keeps putting or saying the stuff that she does. And she, like many of her ilk, actually believe every word that leaves out of their mouths. Like, she believes, or she'll prop up whatever it is that she can to push her own narrative and her own agenda. She's one of the main ones. Another one that I can't wait to get her moment. Now that can't come fast enough. It was one thing when she got left, like when the Blaze dropped her, but that's one thing. She didn't really lose much. She just lost the position and gained another one. I'm talking about really feeling the effects of a personal loss that happens to her. Not so much anyone around her, but her personally. Because she has been peddling anti-black narratives since she came onto the scene. She came out the gate kicking down everything. She didn't ease her way into this. She came in ready to blow this thing sky high. Like, she came in ready for the smoke. You know how some people ease their way in? She not her. She came in like a damn cannon being shot out of its launcher and hasn't stopped yet. But she will believe, she'll probably believe a lie coming out of a black person's mouth that has something that goes against black people just because it's anti-black. And she wouldn't even fact check it. But because a black person said it, and because it was supposed to be against black people, she'll run with it. Like I said, really examine what she responded with. Lil Wayne gets it. No, he does not get it. Who's to say that Lil Wayne was probably high or drunk out of his mind when he said the stuff that he said. Like, when's the last time we've really seen him sober? Let's be real here. And he's probably saying this for shock value or to get attention. It's too bad all the noise from the quote unquote movement just skips right. But then it got me was when she said 99% of the officers are not only good cops, they are good people. A lot of those black cops or the so-called good cops are really bad cops, and not only in their jobs, but also in their homes. I wonder what the Saltine Queen has to say about that cop that beat his wife so bad that her eye came out of her socket. Y'all remember that when I did that story? I wonder what she has to say about that. But no, she was like, oh, that's just the one that falls into the 1%. There's way more than 1% that are bad. I'm sorry, that are good. I'm sorry, I'm probably mixing my words. Y'all know what I mean. 99% are good cops. I highly doubt that. And see, she's saying that from a place of privilege. I bet you this woman has never even been pulled over or has some kind of infraction or any type of major run-in with the police. Now, wouldn't that be interesting if we found out that she did? But see, she's speaking from a place of her PC privilege in which she would not be able to relate. She's probably another one of those people that think systematic racism isn't real, that police brutality is not a thing, and all types of stuff like that. But that's okay, because this thing is being exposed for what it is. But they'll just say it's fake news, it's an agenda from the liberal left, it's Antifa, and all the other ridiculous talking points that they can come up with that doesn't make a lick of sense. Because many of them choose to be blind. These are the same people that say they don't see color. The minute you say that, I can't take you seriously. At that point, there is no more conversation to be had. It's dead on arrival.